Okay, my friends, I have a really fun story to tell you today before we start our word problem. And today our story is about Louisa. Louisa, honey, can you unmute and tell us? I have a question for you. Do you like to wear bracelets? You do. I thought you did. I've seen you wearing bracelets before. Today, boys and girls, listen very closely to my story about Louisa and her bracelet. As I tell my story, I want you to get a picture in your mind. I want you to visualize, get a very clear picture of your mind of what Louisa is doing with this bracelet. Try to imagine it. Louisa was making a bracelet with 10 beads. So there were going to be 10 beads going around on her bracelet. She started off by putting 3 red beads on her bracelet. So I can get a picture of that. She has a bracelet string and there's 3 red beads on it. But now Louisa's stuck and she wants to know, well, if I want 10 total beads on my bracelet and I have 3 right now, how many more beads will I need to add to my bracelet? Boys and girls, who can share with us what picture they got in their mind while I told that story? And you could just call on a student here, Becky. What you'd want them to say is, I could see Louisa making a bracelet. I could see her 3 red beads on the bracelet. Something that's just more about the story, less about the math at this point, but just telling what they could see in their mind. Okay, scholars, now I'm going to show you our math problem on paper. And as I show you this problem, remember, I'm going to read it to you. And when I read, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And just like this little girl is getting a picture in her mind as she's reading, you're going to close your eyes while I read and get a clear picture in your mind of what's happening in the story. I'm going to show my problem here, but I want you to close your eyes while I read. Good, I see so-and-so's eyes closed. So-and-so's eyes are closed. Okay, get a clear picture in your mind, friends, of our story. Louisa was making a bracelet with 10 beads. She has put 3 red beads so far. How many more beads does she need to add to the bracelet? Open your eyes. Okay, friends, let's look really closely at our problem and talk about that image we got in our minds. Who can raise their hand and tell me, how many beads did Louisa want to put on her whole bracelet? Good, she wanted to put 10. And at this point, I'm just going to show you really quick, Becky. I'm going to share this template with you so you can go ahead and solve right here and mark right here on the template if you choose, or you can simply just use a notebook. So I'll show you on a notebook today, but either one is an option. Okay, and students don't have to copy this down. They don't have to write the problem, but you'll just keep the visual of the problem here for them and mark it up as they share what they visualized with you. Okay, good. Louisa wanted 10 beads on her bracelet, right? She didn't start with that many though. How many beads did she put on first? They were red. How many did she put on? Call on a student. Good, she put on 3 red beads. All right, now let's think really carefully about what the question is asking. I'm going to read it again. Think with me. How many more beads does she need to add to the bracelet? Does she need to add to the bracelet? All right, that's a clue, boys and girls, of what I can draw here to help me figure out my problem. Okay, we've read it. Check. Now let's go on to drawing, boys and girls. We're going to draw in 2 ways today. And I want you to get out your whiteboard and your marker so that you can draw with me. And actually, Becca, I would have had them have their whiteboard and marker before I started so that we could just keep moving here. I'm going to show the draw space on my paper, but this would be the space where kids do it on their whiteboard. Eventually, you'll want to move to having your kiddos draw on their own before you do something together. But right now, since you're kind of more in the modeling phase, it's perfectly fine for you to do this kind of in a more guided way while asking kids questions along the way. I'm just going to slide this back. Okay, friends, so here's what we know. We know Louisa wants 10 total beads on her bracelet, and she started with 3 red ones. Let's go ahead and start by drawing a bracelet, a quick circle. Do that quick. Okay, I'm also going to draw a 10 frame. You do not have to draw this with me, but you certainly can if you want. Okay, so you should have your bracelet drawn. You just need to look at my 10 frame. You don't have to draw that, but I'm going to show our work here 2 different ways. Okay, let's show how many beads Louisa put on first, how many she has so far. They were red, and I can look back at my problem and see there's 3. Do this with me, boys and girls. Let's put 3 beads on the bracelet. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm also going to put them in my 10 frame. You just show them on your bracelet. 1, 2, 3. Let me wait a few seconds here. Good. Okay, now my question, my friends, that I'm going to call on you now. How many more beads does she need to add to the bracelet, knowing that she wants to have 10 total beads on her bracelet? Raise your hand if you have an idea of what I can do to show how many more beads she needs to get to 10. And you could call in a raised hand here, and what you obviously hope for kids to say is you could keep drawing till you get to 10. Or some kids might look in the 10 frame and right away say, well, I know 3 and 7 makes 10, so she needs 7 more. So kids are going to be in various stages here of what they might do to figure it out, and it's okay for them to share that, and you can model that here. Okay, I'm going to show, let's say, Julie in your class shared a strategy of drawing more. Great, let me show Julie's strategy here. And just watch me right now, boys and girls, and then you can do it in a second. Okay, so I have 3 beads, and I know I have to get to 10, so I'm going to shake 3. I like how you did that. So do that. I'm going to shake 3 and keep drawing until I get to 10. Here we go. Just watch me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now, how many more did I draw? What can I do to figure that out? And you call in a hand, count how many more you drew, right? Okay, let's count them. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That makes so much sense, boys and girls, because if I look at my 10 frame, I can see my partners of 10. And I know that 3 and what makes 7? Raise your hand if you know. Good, and I see you showing me on your fingers. 3 and 7 make 10, and I can see that here on my bracelet and here in my 10 frame. Great job, friends. Our last part is to write our answer in a sentence, and I've already done that for us. You don't need to write this today, but help me fill it in. Track here while I read. Louisa needs blank more beads. How many more did she need? Show me on your fingers. 7. Great job, my friends.